Welcome students to Educational Psychology 1. My name is Raisa Mohamed-Ryklief and I'll be your facilitator. This video is just a brief overview of what you can expect for this module. This module is a prerequisite to Educational Psychology 2. I hope that you enjoy this module and I hope that it gives you a good foundation for when you have to progress to Educational Psychology 2. The aim of this module and what you'll hopefully have learned as we progress through this semester, this cluster, we'll be able to explain the historical development of educational psychology as a discipline. And of course, you'll really get a good grasp of what educational psychology really is. You'll also be able to distinguish the various schools of thought and be able to also understand how it fits into your degree or your program. And also you'll acquire the skills you need to understand child development. And this is in terms of the domains, the various domains. So we have the physical, cognitive, ethical, social, creative, emotional. There's also the moral domain. So we will understand all of these domains as it relates to a child from birth and to the age of 18 years. Okay, the purpose of this module, it's related to the aim, is for you to explain the historical development of the field of educational psychology. The reason we need to know what the historical development is, we have to know what has really molded this field. Why do we see this field as important? What is its bearing on education? And why do we really need to grasp these concepts as we become or as we progress on our journey towards becoming teachers? We need to distinguish between the various schools of thought because everybody or many people have different views on how to approach education from an educational psychology lens. We need to conceptualize an educational psychological framework with specific reference to learning and teaching. And then, of course, we have to master the knowledge and skills we need to understand child development. This is the breakdown of the units. The unit that you are currently doing is the introductory unit, which really just gives you some time to understand what exactly this module is about, what you can expect. We'll then move on to Unit 1, which is an introduction to educational psychology. Unit 2 will look at the historical development of the field. Then Unit 3, the different schools of thought. Unit 4 is the relationship between educational psychology, teaching and learning. Then of course Unit 5 will look at child development as we said in the previous slide. So what exactly is educational psychology? Now in this video, I won't be able to give you a broad overview of what it exactly is, but I can help you with a starting point. Various theorists talk about educational psychology in different ways. For example, Skinner talks about educational psychology being a branch of psychology that deals with teaching and learning. Crow and Crow talk about educational psychology, that it describes and explains the learning experience of an individual from birth through old age. So educational psychology looks at learning, it looks at the learner, it looks at the learning process, at the institution of learning, the way learning is experienced, it looks at the teacher's experience and actually the content of learning as well. We also talk about learner differences, what motivation for learning is, how to engage students. So really, it's a broad overview of the learning process, but it also gets very specific if you choose different tenets of it. So if you look at the learner, it talks about the learner's development, the learner's motivation, the learner's intelligence. And then if we look at from a teacher point of view or the educator's point of view, it talks about how to engage learners, how to motivate learners, how to help them at where they are. How do you engage a learner while taking into consideration their learning difference, their intelligence, the way they like to be engaged? So all of these are part of educational psychology. Educational psychology creates a foundation upon which teachers can build so that they are able to get the best out of the learning experience for themselves, firstly, and for the learner, very importantly. I won't be able to give you the specifics in this video, but again, like I said, this is really just a starting point for us to understand what we need to do, what we need to learn, what we need to keep our focus on, and just for you to really start to grasp the idea of educational psychology. For this module, you'll be assessed in various ways. We'll be doing activities that involve you providing definitions. We'll be doing quizzes. We'll be doing workshop planning. lots of multiple choice questions. We also have forum discussions, which will mean that you need to really think about your views, understand various elements of educational psychology, and explain them in a way that makes sense to you, but also helps to engage your classmates. It also will be written assignments. This will be in the form of essays, or as you can see, the PowerPoint presentations. We'll also be doing a video, which is going to be part of your summative assessment, and then video blogs too. Your final assessment, which will be uploaded in the next week or two, you need to work on it from this point. Now, I know it's very difficult to find time when you are busy with lots of assessments and lots of learning programs, but it is important for you to keep in mind that your final assessment will also be due amidst other assessments being due. So keep it in your mind, keep it on your calendar. Try to work on it as you progress. It will be available early, as I said, so you will have enough time. There are no extensions available for the final assessment, for the mere fact that it's so late in the program, and therefore the marking will need to be done before Parachute Week, which is the last week. Parachute Week is just to make sure that we covered everything we need to cover, and if there's any type of assessments or resubmissions that need to be done, will be done in Parachute Week. Now I'm doing something new for the final assessment, which is I'll be providing a summative forum, or a forum to discuss the summative assessment. So anytime through this cluster you feel like you need to ask a question about the summative assignment, you'll be able to engage in that forum, so we can just keep in touch, you can keep focused, and you can make sure that you're on the same page. It also allows your classmates to also get answers to the questions that they may also have, which is similar to your own question. A reminder of important points, and specifically TOGI's expectations. Referencing is very important. I know you hear about this all the time, but remember referencing, and from a number of sources of information. Remember to keep track of your due dates, when your contact sessions will be. There are contact sessions already identified for this module, but you are welcome to set up one-on-ones with me. You're also welcome to request more contact sessions if you feel that you need to. Please try to use as many sources of information as possible. So don't just use textbooks or videos or YouTube's clips. Try to use a variety of these sources, and read as much as you possibly can, because the more you read, the more you build your knowledge on the subject. I really like to think of whatever type of studying I'm doing or work I'm doing in terms of a bigger picture. And the bigger picture for me is about becoming an agent of social change. Becoming an agent of social change means that not only are you affecting the way you do things, but you're also impacting other people. So do your own research, think about what is happening in your environment and in your community. This will help you to move towards doing more than just finishing a course. How do you change the way perhaps negative things are occurring within your community and in your society? So part of you studying this, if you think of it in the bigger picture, not only are you becoming a teacher, but you'll become a role model. You'll become someone who touches and affects the lives of children, and hopefully this will be in a positive way so that they can go out into their community and become agents of social change, of positive social change. And so therefore you're not only affecting the life of the child or the children in your class, but also then as a byproduct affecting the way community and the communities and societies are operating. And then lastly, the sources of information for this module have been compiled by me doing research that involves looking at YouTube clips, lots of books and textbooks, websites. I'm watching video tutorials or video outlines of the various topics that we'll be covering, discussions with other professionals, and of course also journal articles and research papers that are written on this topic of educational psychology. I really hope that you are going to enjoy this course. I'm going to try to make it as practical as possible. You will be watching quite a number of videos that I think help to really give you a good foundation upon which you can build, because the videos are a bit more interactive, hopefully interactive in that I'm explaining and talking about the literature that is presented. So I do hope that it adds an extra element to this module. Thank you so much, guys, and good luck with this module.